You read the title of the video. You know what this is about, and honestly, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Neither is the cat. Kevin Conroy passed away yesterday after a very short battle with cancer. The same thing that took George Perez and so many other people in our lives. It's hard. It really, really is, but I wanted to make this video in order to give tribute to the man that inspired so many of us as the Dark Knight, and shed a little more light on him, because he's done a lot that some people don't know. A lot of his history before becoming the Batman was highlighted in a wonderful read called I Am Batman, I believe is what it's called, could be wrong, that he wrote for DC Pride 2022. It's one of the best things out of that whole thing. So here's my best effort at a tribute to the legend that is Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy, he has done an immeasurable amount in the world of media. Sure, everybody knows him as Batman, and that's for good reason, and we will get to that. But I think it's worth noting that one should also look at his time before Batman, what he was doing beforehand, because he came into the role of Batman in 1992, but he's been active in media roles since 1978. And even in 1973, went to the New York City Juilliard School's drama division, studying under actor John Houseman, rooming with the likes of Kelsey Grammer and legendary stand-up comedian and, well, comedian in general, Robin Williams. This man has been through a lot, especially when you consider that he was a closeted gay man in the 1980s. So he has had his share of seeing how people acted about certain folks of that cloth in the 70s and 80s. When he was going to school, Stonewall happened, and while he had landed a role in soap opera Another World, and touring, doing things like Hamlet and Midsummer Night's Dream, and even doing a play as a character who was a television producer secretly living with AIDS in Eastern Standard. He saw his friends by the hundreds dying of the AIDS epidemic and how that was being treated. More of this is talked about in the comic book that he wrote, Finding Batman. That was the actual name. I apologize for the misnaming earlier. But this was Conroy's life. He played many a gay character because while he kept it under wraps for so long, word travels fast in drama circles. He played a lot of gay characters, and unfortunately, real life has had a tendency of belittling him for his history. And that tragedy bleeds into how he approached the Dark Knight. He had suffered loss and pain unimaginable to many, friends and family dying for various causes, and being treated as, well, I'm not going to say the word, but if you read the Finding Batman comic, directors and even sometimes family members alike would call him horrific slurs, and that was what he was, according to him. And when he was approached to do Batman, fun fact, he never knew about Batman. He grew up in a drama-centered world, and comics were not something he ever read before he was touted to do Batman. And this was in 1992, not that long after Michael Keaton had become Batman in 1989, creating the resurgence of the Bat family in the 90s, as it were. And it wasn't obviously just Batman the Animated Series, although that is how he got his start. He ended up doing 28 separate projects. 28 separate projects as the Batman. Some of them include various parts of the DC animated universe, like the new Batman Adventures, Batman Beyond, Justice League, the Zeta Project, Static Shock, or other movies. For instance, Batman Gotham Knight, or Superman Batman Apocalypse, and even as recently as Justice League versus the Fatal Five. This man, by the time of the early 2000s, was Batman. Synonymous, even. I think, without exaggeration, in my opinion, Kevin Conroy, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, is the quintessential Batman. You can argue against certain live-action actors all the time. Like, who's your favorite live-action Batman? Is it Val Kilmer? Is it George Clooney? Is it Adam West? Is it Christian Bale? Is it Michael Keaton? But I think if I were to ask most Batman fans, who is the voice of Batman? Who is the person that best embodies the Dark Knight? Without a shadow of a doubt, the vast majority would answer Kevin Conroy. In fact, one of the film's trailers got animated, The Dark Knight Rises. One of the Dark Knight Rises trailers was animated, and for that trailer, guess who redubbed Christian Bale's Batman lines? It was Kevin fucking Conroy. And in fact, he is so synonymous with Batman that another real-world tragedy called upon him to don the cowl. September 11, 2001. I'm pretty sure everybody who is even remotely familiar with the United States knows what that day means. But what does this have to do with Kevin Conroy? Well, he participated in relief efforts, volunteering to cook for servicemen from policemen to firefighters. And at the behest of another cook, he has even done the Batman voice, reciting a certain very iconic line from the episode Nothing to Fear. You can learn more about this if you listen to an audio commentary on Batman Gotham Knight, but he was there helping servicemen, and not just as Kevin Conroy cooking food for servicemen alongside many others, but boosting morale by reminding people of one simple fact: he was Batman. Of course, that's just movies and shows. He's also very popularly used in video games. I mean, that's my general sphere for this channel, so it's worth touching on just how many video games he was in. He was obviously in every Arkham game except for Arkham Origins, which I believe was due to scheduling conflicts, but I'm not 100% sure what happened there. He also, for one of his last voice roles ever, is Batman in Multiverses, which is a fighting game that features people from across the multiverse. And, of course, I would be remiss, as a fighting game fan, not to mention his role in the Injustice games, because Kevin Conroy was Batman in both of them. And the list truly goes on for the amount of times. Again, I said 28 separate times that Batman was voiced by Kevin Conroy. He's portrayed the character longer than anybody else. Full stop. The previous record holder was the man who voiced Batman in the various early animated shows like Super Friends. And that man was doing voice lines from the late 1960s to the early 1980s, so if we're going to be generous, 25 years. Kevin Conroy was Batman for 30. And in my mind, there is no better Batman than Kevin Conroy. And fortunately for him, he was happily married to a man by the name of Vaughn C. Williams. And he is one of several people that he leaves behind, including his sister Tricia and his brother Tom. Now, I could talk about Kevin Conroy for as long as until the cows come home, honest and for true. However, I don't think that would do Kevin Conroy's impact justice to hear just one voice. So, I'm going to be reading quotes from several others, and I'm going to even have several others join in. Or I'm going to have at least one person join in vocally, give their thoughts, hear another voice about, well, what the Batman meant to them, what Kevin Conroy meant to them. Oh, before I forget actually, before we get into that, I'm going to make this as quick as humanly possible. Kevin Conroy has an official website, and I recommend going to it. It'll be in the description alongside sources to various things that I have said in this video. Because no ifs, ands, or buts about it, Kevin Conroy has done it all. Video games, movies, TV shows, music. I'm not kidding. He has done music. And all of this. And you can visit his official website and learn more. But enough from me. Let's see what other people have had to say about this legend. A good friend of mine, Wretched Spute, you may have known him under another name. He's been on the channel before. Wanted this to say about Kevin Conroy. Quote, "He was the hero Gotham deserved, and the one it needs now more than ever. He was a brilliant actor whose talent was only outshone by his genuine goodness. In many ways, he represents the best in all of us, and now that he is departed, it has fallen to us to keep the memory of this legend going. He is vengeance, he is the night, forever and always, he is Batman." Spider Knight said, "As much as it's been said, Kevin will always be the Batman to me and many others. Not just through his performance, but through his actions and care he gave to others. May he rest in peace." And now, why don't we hear the testimonials from a couple of fans that I know personally.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. The iconic lines of the Caped Crusader. Thank you, Kevin Conroy. For without you, I wouldn't have known one of my greatest heroes. And without him, I wouldn't aspire to be the man I want to be today. Thank you.
I was a young kid in the early 2000s, well, late 90s, early 2000s, and I can just remember every moment or every memory of an animated Batman. It was Kevin Conroy from the New Adventures of the Batman Adventures, or whatever it was called, to, Justice League, and, well, Batman Beyond before that, then to Justice League, and then, the Arkham games. Kevin Conroy as Batman has been the Batman I hear every time I read a comic book, every time I read some form of Bat literature to, just about any form of medium I intake, and there is no, voiceover or anything. I can just read the voice as Kevin Conroy. Just like Mark Hamill is the Joker, Kevin Conroy is the Batman to me. And it sucks to see him go, because he made a lot of people's childhoods, and he was a great guy. That's all that can be said. He was a great guy who gave to this fandom 110% no matter what. And it sucks, man. It sucks. So, rest in peace to Kevin Conroy, and for all my fellow DC fans and comic fans and what have you, let's, remember the man for his works and what he gave to us as fans. All right, peace.
Before we go, there's one more thing I think I should do for Kevin. If you've made it this far, well, I have one final hurrah for the Dark Knight himself. And Kevin Conroy once sang a song for a Justice League episode called Am I Blue? You're about to hear the full version of that, alongside highlights of his career, ranging all the way back from 1978 to 2022.
Am I blue? Am I blue? Ain't these tears in my eyes telling you? Am I blue? You'd be too if each plan that you made done fell through. Was a time I was her only one, but now I'm the sad and lonely one. Lordy, was I gay till today. Now she's gone and we're through. Am I blue? Was a time I was her only one, but now I'm the sad and lonely one. Lordy, was I gay till today. Now she's gone and we're through. Am I blue? Now she's gone